What's going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new video on PrizePicks. Today I've got plays for you for Thursday night football as well as NBA Thursday. So we got 4 games of NBA and then of course 1 game of the NFL. We're going to talk about all that, but real quick, do me a favor, drop a like on this video. Literally, it'll take it 2 seconds, completely free. Let's try to get 20 likes in this video. We've been doing really good by hitting that. And now let's move into the winnable. So the winnable is where I give out free plays every single day. And basically, you just get a bonus free play from me every single day. So you get quite a few on this video, and then you can get one. It usually comes out in the afternoon or the evening. And I guess drop it just like my solidest, my sharpest lock, I would say. Sign up on the free plan. It's the first link in the description, winnable.com/bam. It's also up there. And yeah, I just want to get as many of you guys in the free group as possible so we can get as many of you guys cashing with us every single day, as many as possible, like I just said. Now, I also track my VIP and literally every single play that goes through there. Since the beginning of October, we're now coming towards the end of October, it's October 30th as I'm recording this, we've gone up 46 units in a single month. Absolutely huge. And you best believe I'm going to keep recording every single play. You go back any of my videos last few weeks, I've been literally tracking every single play. That's a lot of things that you don't see other YouTubers do. Honestly, this is also outdated. Don't worry about that. That was from a few days ago. Had a great day on Sunday, that was. But elite stuff on the VIP, and I'm giving away VIP for completely free. So if you want to get free VIP, it's literally easier than ever. All you have to do is text me the word VIP to this number right here. Once you guys text me the word VIP, I'm going to help you get on one of these apps, Sleeper, Chalkboard, Underdog, whatever it is, or a few other ones. But all you have to do is text me the word VIP to this number. I got my phone on me right now. I'm just going to hit you guys back up right after this, and then I'll get you guys in the VIP for completely free for an entire week. That's how simple it is. Now, let's move into the first play of the day. We're going to the NFL first, then we'll take a look at the NBA afterwards. But play number 1, we're taking Lamar Jackson. I really think Lamar Jackson is going to play in this game. That's all the information that I have right now as I'm recording this around 1 a.m. on the day of the game. So lots to go through, but I think Lamar Jackson is going to play. That's what all the reports are saying. We're just going to assume as if he is, right? So Lamar at 35.5 rushing yards. I like the over right here. As you guys can tell, Lamar had 70 rushing yards. Then he missed. The last time he missed was against the best run defense in the NFL, or I would say one of the best. The Browns are a very sneaky good run defense. Then he barely missed against the Lions, but 35 rushing yards is still very solid. And then 48 yards against Kansas City in that big loss where he ended up obviously not playing after that, right? So if we look at how the Dolphins have been against defending rushing quarterbacks, right? Daniel Jones, he hit his over. Drake May, he hit his over. Josh Allen just barely missed the under, or barely missed the over. He went under by 1 yard. Justin Fields had a blowout game against him, right? Or they got blown out, but like 81 yards that the Justin Fields put up against the Dolphins on the ground. So why is this important? We're looking at how do the Dolphins really defend against rushing quarterbacks, right? And we don't want to look at every quarterback in here because quarterbacks like Bryce Young and Justin Herbert, honestly, don't really run the ball all that much, right? So we can kind of disregard that data and just look at the quarterbacks that do like to run the ball. It's really these 3 right here. Daniel Jones does like to run the ball, but Drake May, Josh Allen, and Justin Fields, those are the players that are most similar to Lamar, right? And these are the players that have had very good success running the ball against this Dolphins defense. So that's exactly why I like this line. If you want to move it down, I always say this, guys. This is an extra betting tip for you guys. You can take it straight at the exact value that the line is. So 35.5, you just take that as a straight play. But if you want to put it as a parlay piece, bump it down. Go Lamar 20 plus rushing yards. Lamar 25 plus rushing yards would probably be where I would take it. Or Lamar 30 plus rushing yards, what have you, depending on the odds that you want. Go ahead for a little bit of short odds on that game, and then you'll have a great play right there. That's exactly how it goes. Lower the odds for a parlay piece. Take it straight. If you just want to take a straight play, just take it on the line that they give you. Now, let's move into play number 2. Because we're going on the other side of the ball, Devon Achane right here. And I'm just taking a very simple Devon Achane to score a touchdown because the Dolphins are going to score a couple touchdowns in this game. 1 touchdown or 2 touchdowns probably. I don't think they're going to come out scoreless. And that touchdown, more likely than not, will go to Achane. There is literally nobody else on this team that will probably be the recipient of that touchdown. Jalen Waddle is the most likely other candidate. But Waddle, honestly, the way that he's been playing, he had a touchdown last game, but he's been kind of hit or miss, right? Devon Achane's that guy. I mean, that's just straight up. Devon Achane is the guy who is most consistent with this line. And if we look at, I mean, this is not a great graph, honestly, because I don't like how they show, the backup running backs as well, and like the third string, fourth strings getting zero touchdowns. But if we just try to eliminate that from our minds and just look at which of these running backs are starting running backs for their team, and did these starting running back, when they played against the Baltimore Ravens, score a touchdown? Well, Dave Montgomery scored 2. Jahmyr Gibbs also scored 2. Isaiah Pacheco, he scored 1. Nick Chubb, he scored 1. Kyron Williams, he scored 1. DeAndre Swift, he scored 1. So if we really disregard all of these zeros right here, because all of these zeros are players who are not even the starters on their team, right? Corum, Brooks, Marks, Pierce, these are not the starters. Chubb is obviously the starter, at least he was on the 5th of October. That's exactly what you want to look at, right? You want to look at, is the number 1 running back when they go up against the Ravens, is the number 1 running back for this team actually scoring, finding the end zone? And in this case, the answer is yes. Resoundingly yes. So Devon Achane right here, great play. Also, Devon Achane obviously catches a lot of passes out the backfield, but also some in the wide and slot as well. The Ravens are pretty weak against defending against running backs pass catching out of the backfield, right? So I would not hate that play either. I'm getting a little bit of exposure to Devon Achane on the touchdown prop, and I'm also going to get a little bit of exposure to him on receiving yards. He's been very bad at this recently. Absolutely horrendous, right? Getting his line at 32.5 receiving yards. So if you feel better about it, take him at 4.5 receptions, where I would take him 4.5 receptions. But I kind of like him on receiving yards. I think this line has moved down so far because of his terrible weeks recently that it's actually at a spot where it's a pretty profitable play, right? This is what happens when a player doesn't hit for 5 or 6 weeks in a row. Their line just starts tanking and tanking and tanking and tanking and tanking. But it's the same player. It's still Devon Achane. It's still the Miami Dolphins, and they're still going to be playing from behind in this game, which means basically everything is similar to or the exact same as how it was at the beginning of the season. And if you showed someone, if you showed me, or if you showed yourself at the beginning of the season, a Devon Achane receiving yards prop at 30 yards, you would smack that over, no questions asked, because that's just the kind of player he is. He's had a rough few weeks. I still like him on the receiving yards, but me personally, I'm going to get some exposure to him on the touchdown. Now, let's move into play number 3. It's going to be Mark Andrews right here. So this is another one where I just like Andrews to have a good game. So that means you could take him on receiving yards, or you can take him on receptions, what have you. Why do I think Mark Andrews is going to do well here? Because Mark Andrews is one of the biggest hit or miss plays on this Ravens team. Gone are the days where Mark Andrews was just that guy, right? This is a couple years ago. Last year, Mark Andrews was pretty solid, right? But he was still kind of hit or miss. This season, he's been very hit or miss. He's clearly not the number 1 guy on the offense. He hasn't been for a little while now, and they don't trust him that much. But someone who does trust him a ton is Lamar Jackson. If you guys watched in this game, Lions game versus Ravens, Mark Andrews got a ton of targets, 6 catches. Then against the Chiefs, 8 targets, 7 catches. Then Lamar obviously doesn't play. He misses, and then he has a couple of decent games with 4 catches and 3 catches. In this one, if we look at the player, he plays mostly in the slot and in the inline, right? So we're just going to say mostly in the middle of the field is where Mark Andrews plays. And this makes sense. This is the kind of day that you want to see because this makes a ton of sense. Mark Andrews is not lining up on the wide or in the backfield basically at all. The opposing defense is the worst in the NFL at defending passes across the middle of the field. 32 out of 32. They are literally the worst in the NFL. They can defend the slot pretty well. But when the Ravens see a matchup like this, when they do the statistics, they actually come up with game plans and try to attack the opposing defense. Obviously they do, and obviously they're going to see this exact flaw in the Miami defense. It's literally a hole in the middle of their defense. That's the best way you can explain it, because they're the worst at defending the middle of the field against like target zones, right? This is exactly what it is. Can players catch the ball in the middle of the field against the Miami Dolphins? Yes, they can catch it all over them. So I expect Mark Andrews to go and just really sit in this spot a ton because it's going to be a wide open spot, right? The Dolphins are not going to defend it as well as really any other team. So Mark Andrews right here is a great matchup. Now, let's look at the other tight ends when they play against the Dolphins. And let's just focus on Tyler Warren. He cashed. Hunter Henry missed out. Dalton Kincaid, green. Mason Taylor, green. Mitchell Evans, this is exactly why the data is going to fool you, because they're going to give you players who are just not, really solid tight ends at all. They're going to give you players who are kind of off the bench a little bit. Mitchell Evans, Tommy Tremble are those exact players. The Panthers do not have a solid tight end. Oronde Gadsden popped off 7 catches. Will Dissly, he's one of those other players. Harold Fenton Jr., 4 catches. Cal Pitts literally just played them and had 7 catches and a loss. 7 catches and a loss. They lost by 24 points. But Cal Pitts had 9 targets and 9 catches. What does that mean? That means that this Miami Dolphins defense is very vulnerable to defending players across the middle of the field. And who is going to be the number 1 Raven to go across the middle of the field tonight? It's going to be Mark Andrews, right? So you can take him on receiving yards at 27. You can take him on receptions at 2.5, what have you. Now, let's move into the next play of the day because we're going over to the NBA and there's a lot to talk about in the NBA, guys. You know we love ourselves some NBA. I mean, Giannis, it feels hard to play against Giannis, right? To bet against Giannis would be the stupidest thing you could do right now because he's had 30 points in every single game this season. He's averaging 57 PRA, and his line is at 51.5. Like, I would take Giannis at 50, but like 49.5, so basically 50 plus PRA. I feel really good about that play. Basically, this one's going to be another close game. He's played a ridiculous stretch of teams. Like, these are all very good teams. The Wizards are playing very solid this season. The Raptors are playing insane this season. The Cavs obviously are still the Cavs from last season. And the New York Knicks, I mean, they're playing pretty solid too. And this was a close game, and he managed to hit at 52 PRA. So, why didn't Giannis hit as dominantly in this game? Was actually because he only had 8 rebounds. So Giannis's rebounds fell off a cliff in that last game. He went from 14, 20, and 14, averaging literally 16 rebounds a night. And then he just halved that and got 8 against the Knicks for whatever reason. That was just completely unpredictable. I mean, I guess you could say the Knicks are a good rebounding team, but it's oftentimes just the bounce of the ball, right? So, Giannis on points, love this play, but I like him even more on PRA. I just think this one's a no-brainer, right? Double-double, like it's minus 500. Why are you even taking that? Anyways, let's get into the next play of the day. We're scrolling down, and I'm going to see if I can find this Heat versus Spurs game. We're taking the guy who I think, I mean, honestly, I'm not going to say he plays like Giannis, but I can't wait for this man to match up against Giannis. I looked it up. We have to wait all the way until January to watch the Bucks play the Spurs. But I don't care. I'm going to be locked in when that game comes because Victor Wembanyama against Giannis is going to be insane, right? But let's talk about Wemby right now. He doesn't have to play Giannis. He actually gets to play against Bam Adebayo, right? Solid player, but he's no Giannis, right? This is another game where Wemby's just going to do what he's been doing, right? This is a very solid play once again. So his line is at 28.5 points. And his line for rebounds is up at 13.5. I would lower that rebounds line down to 12.5, like you can do on some of these apps, I think. Maybe not. On PrizePicks, they're giving you at 13, but you can always lower the prop on the app if you just go ahead and click it on the app that you have. I like Wemby at 12.5 rebounds a ton. This one against the Miami Heat, I mean, there's just so little data right now that it's hard to really see. Is this a good rebounding team? Is this a bad rebounding team? Or whatever. But if you look at the only data we have right here right now is that the Knicks played up against the Heat recently, and Karl-Anthony Towns actually popped off, right? He had 18 rebounds in this game. So very, very solid. 27 rebound chances, right? So if you look at the rebound chances, he's had 22, 16, 24, and then 21 rebound chances. So I would project we need around 17 to 20 rebound chances in this game for Wemby to easily clear this line of 13 rebounds. This is a very solid play. And if we go over to rebounds, and let's just see which players might be taking away rebounds from Wemby, right? So obviously nobody on his team is anywhere close. The next highest rebound prop is Keldon Johnson at 5.5. Wemby's up at 13.5. So he's obviously going to get the rebounds for the Spurs. And the other guys that are challenging him on rebounds, Bam Adebayo is projected around 9. Cale Ware is projected around 8 rebounds, right? So that's what we're looking at. Even if those guys are able to get their projected rebounds, they're still playing enough to go around for Wembanyama to pick up his 12 or 13 or 14, wherever you want to take the line. So Wemby on rebounds is another great play, but let's move into play number 3 in the NBA. We're going back to iHeart, guys. iHeart is a player that I absolutely love taking. And it's going to be on rebounds again. I feel like I've been talking so much about rebounds recently. But this is another one where he was able to hit against Sabonis, right? He was able to hit against Sabonis with 21 rebound chances. 24 rebound chances there. Only time he's missed was against the Hawks and against the Rockets in overtime. Why did he miss against the Rockets in double overtime, you might ask? It's because he didn't really play all that much, right? He didn't really play all that much. or at least very many important minutes. And now against the Wizards, I think this one might not even be a close game. The Thunder have been really shaky recently, but I think they come out here, beat the Wizards. Ihart gets quite a few minutes, and he hits this rebounds prop. That's all I got for the video. I'll see you in the next one once we cash.